Morning, you guys, it's Karen, and I thought I would come and do a quick migraine / gabapentin update. Even though there isn't that much to tell, to be honest, but I would love to find out what your guys' opinion is on what I should do next, to be honest, because it's so hard to decide what route to go down, and I feel like I've not really got anybody to discuss it with at the moment, even though I could phone the GP and make an appointment with the pharmacist, but the pharmacist at my GP said, the last time I spoke to him, he's lovely, but he said, I don't really know about dosages to do with your migraine, to do with migraine for gabapentin, he said, because I've only ever prescribed it for, other things, neuropathic pain and epilepsy. And I can't get to see the bloody neurologist. It's a nightmare. So basically, I was supposed to see the neurologist remember I was supposed to see him last July, and then I turned up and they told me he was on holiday, which was a nightmare, and that they'd sent me a letter to tell me the change of appointment, but they hadn't. I wasn't then able to get another appointment until January, so 6 months later. So I had my appointment, I was all ready to go in January. And then I got another letter from the NHS saying that they were changing the way they were doing appointments. And I got this letter in, I think it was November last year. And it was saying that they aren't making appointments so far in advance. So they were cancelling my appointment, but they would be in touch nearer the time to let me know when my appointment was going to be. And I thought it was just really, really odd. So that's January come and gone, and I have not heard from them. So I could chase it up. I could take that letter out and phone them and say, look, I was supposed to have an appointment in July, then I was supposed to have an appointment in January, you cancelled it, I've never heard from you, yada, yada. And I'm pretty sure I could get an appointment. But I'm kind of holding off, and I've kind of thought it was a good thing that I've not seen the neurologist, because two things. One, the tramadol. My neurologist is quite obsessed, I would say, with me coming off of tramadol. That seems to be his goal, really. And I was confused by one of he's a lovely guy, don't get me wrong, he's absolutely lovely. But one of his letters to my GP confused me, because he said, and this was the last letter he wrote actually, so it was a year and a month ago or something like that. And I was about to try venlafaxine, do you remember, which is an SSRI. I took 1 or 2 doses and I had a horrible, horrible time and will never take it again. But he'd written in this letter, she wants to try venlafaxine, and then he gave this list of other drugs that I could try, and he said, if venlafaxine works, she should stop tramadol. And that really confused me, because there's no cure for migraine, and I can't imagine that anything is going to mean that I am 100% migraine free. Maybe I need to be more optimistic about that, but I can't imagine it is. And his goal, his actual clinical goal, I know, is to get me to under 15 days a month, because that's when I would be discharged, if I could get my migraines to under 15 days a month. But if my migraines were still, let's say they were 10 days a month, then tramadol is the only rescue medication I have. So anyway, I'm sure I've talked about that before, and that's one of the reasons that I'm always putting off going to see the neurologist this time, because I'm like, if I go and say that gabapentin is working for 15 days of the month, is he then going to say to the GP to not give me tramadol? They will pay attention because he's a neurologist, and then I won't have any rescue medication. So I'll still be in the same position, because before I was having 30 migraines a month, but 15 days I could take a tramadol. If they stopped the tramadol and the gabapentin was working 15 days a month, I'm in no different position, So that was one of the reasons I was kind of avoiding it. The other one was because I wanted to keep on increasing the gabapentin dose and seeing if it would help, because at 300 milligrams, I felt like it helped. And to remember, I was probably at the stage last time I spoke to you guys where I was really encouraged and feeling like I was seeing a difference. Unfortunately, that's not stayed that way. And the last couple of weeks, it just seems to have got worse. And I'm now on, so I started on 100 milligram, if you remember, and went 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. I'm currently on 700 milligrams. I did actually go up to 800 milligrams, but I didn't like it. It's made me feel worse. I'm sure it's worse. But the GP is suggesting I go up to 900 milligrams. And even she said she doesn't know what dose to give me for migraines. So she's given me the dose for neuropathic pain, which I'm also taking gabapentin for. So I'm on 700 milligrams at the moment, and it's still helping, because on days where I take a tramadol, I feel like extends it a little bit. And even on non-tramadol days, I can do more than I would have done before. I'm not laid up all day long, or I wasn't. The last couple of weeks have been pretty horrendous. So I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to, what are my options? My options are to increase up to the 900 as the GP suggested. But honestly, I'm like, there's no difference currently between when I was on 300 milligrams and now on 700 milligrams. So I've more than doubled the dose and there's no difference. So I don't feel like keep on increasing it is going to do anything. My other option is to go to a private neurologist. I think this is the one I'm going to go for. This is the one Kev wants me to do. And have what's called a GON block. So it's a greater occipital nerve block in the back of your neck, the base of your head. You have an injection and it's like, I think it's just local anaesthetic and steroid that gets injected. Now, it's not a huge chance of success. Some people find that they get relief for a couple of weeks. A lot of people find they get no relief. Some people get relief for a couple of months, but that's really unusual. But I am willing to give it a try. And I think even if it didn't work, I feel like it will give me an indicator of whether my occipital nerve is involved and therefore if I should push on and try more nerve drugs. So I think that's what I'm going to do. The only complication with that is that I have to have a consultation with a private neurologist and that knocks me off of the NHS neurology. But I can't see at this moment any benefit to me going back to seeing my neurologist, because the one thing I've got to check is if there's anything new drug-wise out, because he did mention something called D-TANs and I've never heard of them. But if they are out, it might be worth me visiting him first and phoning the hospital saying, can I come and see him and see if I can get these D-TANs and try those and then go down the private neuro route, you know. But you can't do both. Once you see a private neurologist and have treatment there, you're knocked off the NHS. Do you know, I was thinking it's not quite that simple, because I saw a private person for my knee, but then they referred me back to the NHS, I suppose, to have the operation. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. It's not really, I'm not that much better. I'm really freaking out. You know, I'm in a much better mood today because it's a tramadol day. Yesterday I was upset. I was in so much pain and I just was like, I don't know what to do, because Kev is now back at work, which means he's not here to help take care of Watson, which a lot of you will be like, you know, what's the big deal? But Watson is a hyper dog because we've made him that way. You know, he's an intelligent dog that needs his brain exercising and his body exercising, and he still has 3 to 4 hours walking. You know, I don't want to put him in with daycare every day. And even then, daycare is only, he doesn't get picked up sometimes until 9:30 and he's back at 2:30. That's with the 2 walks. If he's just in for 1 walk, like today, he'll get picked up about 1:30 and he'll be back by 3:30, you know. So it's only a couple of hours and it doesn't tire him out. I don't know what, not much tires Watson out, to be honest with you. He's not a sleeper, you know, he's not a dog that sleeps during the day very often. So I panic about that. I panic about how I'm going to get through my appointments, because this week I've got, for example, I've got a breast scan on Wednesday. So do you remember I had that scare 3 years ago? It's 3 years ago that I had it, and I think that's why they're sending me this appointment, because I did ask, will I get the appointment at 50, because you get scans over 50 in Scotland, but she said they're not always at 50, they're somewhere between 50 and 55, but I would get one in 3 years to go back to check these lumps. So I don't know how that's going to go. But anyway, in order to get to that appointment, I've got to drive, so I need to have a tramadol for that. Then I've got the opticians on Friday, again, I need to drive, so I need to have a tramadol for that. So it's just trying to work out, you're only supposed to take it 3 times a week. Well, when do I take it? Because I like to try and save it for the weekends, you know. And today it's just because I've got so much that I need to catch up on, so much that I need to do. And I knew that Watson was going to be here this morning. So as soon as he wakes up, which I'm surprised he's not awake now, it's 9:45, but he will come through and need something, whether it's, you know, a little bit of training or a walk or something. And I know I could talk about it for hours, because there'll be people saying, well, why don't you just leave him and he'll go to sleep? He doesn't. If I leave him, he absolutely does not. And it's also not what I want to do, you know. So I'll do some training with him. I need to do some physio with him. I need to clean his ears, you know, it's all those kind of things. So that's where I'm at with my migraine. I hate coming and being negative, and I feel like I'm always moaning about this bloody migraine, honestly. I hope I never hear the word again. I could do with calling that something different. You know, when Watson had cancer, I started calling it crackerjack. I didn't want to use the C word that was associated with it, so I started saying crackerjack instead, and it just felt so much better. I think I'm going to have to do that with the migraine thing. Anyway, I hope that you guys are all well, and I hope that you guys are finding some solutions. Please let me know, because it always encourages me to know that there are people out there that are struggling, but that are finding relief somehow, you know. And even my friend said to me, she said, I wonder if there's other people that are as complex as you, you know. And there are. The neurologist told me that he has lots of cases of, I think it's called refractory migraine, you know, where it just, nothing works, and it helps to feel not so alone. So let me know how you're getting on, but I hope you are well, and I'll speak to you again soon.